Hi, my beautiful third graders. Good to see you guys again. So we're going to start a brand new book today. You guys voted on it. I asked you which book you wanted to read. We did a little voting in our last Zoom class, and we went with Robert and the Attack of the Giant Tarantula. I'm not a fan of spiders, and I can imagine with that face, Robert doesn't look like one either. So I can't wait to find out what happened that Robert got stuck with a tarantula in his bed. No, thank you. If you haven't read a Robert book before, they are written by Barbara Suling, and they're illustrated by Paul Brewer. Lots of fun. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in to Robert and the Attack of the Giant Tarantula. I'm going to read 2 chapters with you today as you're watching this video, and then when we meet in our Zoom class, we're going to continue the book, okay? Let's go ahead and get started. Robert and the Attack of the Giant Tarantula. Chapter 1, Half Price Special. Swoosh! Robert sank into his beanbag chair. His book bag slid to the floor, and a book fell out. Harry the Invisible Dog, read his friend Paul, picking it up. Another dog book. Robert had read almost every dog book in the class library. It was taking him a long time because, well, he was a slow reader. It's the best I can do since I don't have a real dog. Why do you want a dog? A dog wags its tail when you come home from school. He's so glad to see you. He slobbers you with his kisses. Yeah, you also have to walk him. I know, said Robert. I wouldn't mind doing that. Well, then why don't you walk dogs for other people? Any dog will slobber on you if you let them. Robert laughed. That's actually a good idea. Paul always had good ideas. Robert tore a sheet of paper out of his notebook and he wrote, I walk dogs. $1. You may have to feed them too, said Paul when Robert showed it to him. So then Robert wrote, I walk and feed dogs. $1. Paul looked at it again. Well, what if someone has a dog and a fish too? Robert chewed on his eraser and he wrote, I take care of pets. $1 each. Should fish really cost as much as dogs? Asked Paul. You have to walk a dog, and you only really have to sprinkle dried flies into a fish tank. Paul thought of everything. Robert tore out a new sheet of paper and wrote the ad all over again. Yeah, said Paul. He got ready to go home. Don't forget to add your phone number. Right, said Robert, writing it in. He looked at his ad and he smiled. After Paul left, Robert made 2 more copies of the notice. He asked his mom to put one up at the Super Shopper. He asked his brother Charlie to put one up in the pet shop where he went to the mall with his friends. The last one went into Robert's notebook for this bulletin board at school. Robert couldn't wait. Maybe he'd have a dog to take care of soon enough. All right, here we go. Customer number 1. Attack of the Lizard People, said Charlie. Nutty Professor too, said Robert. Friday was family night with the Dorfmans when they ordered pizza and they watched movies. Charlie liked the chase scenes, explosions, and scary monsters. Robert liked movies that made him laugh. They flipped a coin. Charlie won. He popped his movie into the VCR. A VCR is something we had way before, DVD players and way before on-demand movies. A band of lizard people was fighting an army of giant grasshoppers when the phone rang. It's for you, Robert, called his mother. Robert didn't mind missing some of the movie. It was getting pretty gruesome. Wings and tails were flying everywhere. This is Esther Glass, said a woman. Is this the person who takes care of pets? Yes. Well, I live on Oak Street, the woman said. Her voice was shaky. I'm going into the hospital. Can you take care of my birds while I'm away? Sure, said Robert. When he talked to his parents about his new business, they said that he could take only jobs that were close to home. Oak Street was only a few blocks away. He wrote down Mrs. Glass's address. The next morning, Robert stopped at Mrs. Glass's to pick up her house key. She was old. Robert watched carefully as she showed him how to feed the doves and clean their cage. This is Billy, and this one's Flo, said Mrs. Glass. They looked exactly alike. I'll miss them. You'll take good care of them, won't you? Robert saw tears filling up her eyes. Yes, ma'am, he promised. Every day, Robert got off the school bus to stop early to go to Mrs. Glass's house. He fed the doves. On Fridays, he took extra time to clean their cage and line it with newspaper. In school, Robert's class was preparing for Earth Day. They had to write or draw about something that was not good for the earth. Then they had to make a suggestion on fixing it. Robert drew a picture of a truck parked by a river. A man was dumping a barrel of black stuff into the river. A police car had pulled up with his sirens flashing. Nearby in a park, a boy was drinking from the water fountain. Over his head was a cartoon balloon that said, "Yuck, this tastes funny." "That's so cute," said Suzanne Lee Rogers, stretching over his shoulder to look. Robert didn't see how polluting a river could really be called cute. Thanks," he said. "You take care of pets?" "Uh-huh. Why?" "I have a job for you." Robert looked up, scratching his neck. "Well, what kind of job? Do you have a dog?" "It's okay, children," said Miss Berna, their teacher. "It's time to clean up." "Later," said Suzanne Lee, hurrying back to her seat. That evening, as Robert struggled with his math homework, the doorbell rang. Robert heard his mom's voice. "Suzanne Lee, how nice to see you." What was Suzanne Lee doing here? Robert wondered. He came out of his room and thumped down the stairs. Suzanne Lee held a small plastic tank in her hands. "Hi, Robert," she said. "I didn't finish telling you today, but this is the job I have for you." The tank had a lid with small holes in it. Robert hoped it was on tight. Inside the tank was the biggest, blackest, hairiest spider he had ever seen in his life, and it began to move. Oh my goodness, looks like this is not the type of pet sitting job he was looking for. We'll stop right there and we'll read another chapter together in our Zoom class. Have an awesome day, guys. Love you.